The modern motorcycle industry is a massive scam. Dealerships want you trapped, buying overpriced, fragile digital spaceships that shatter when it rains. Smart American men are fighting back. They are walking away from $30,000 touchscreen appliances and buying 25-year-old analog motorcycles. Today, we expose the 10 absolute best analog motorcycles built before 2001. They never break down, cost practically nothing, and will outlive you. Let us begin. Number 10. The Yamaha Virago 1100. When smart American men get completely exhausted by modern cruisers that require a laptop to diagnose a simple engine misfire, they turn to absolute vintage perfection. The Yamaha Virago 1100 is the mechanical equivalent of the Terminator T800. It is a relentless, unstoppable machine that absolutely refuses to die. It offers classic cruiser aesthetics without the terrifying digital headaches of the modern era. Let us break down the specs. This machine utilizes a massive 1063cc air-cooled V-twin engine. It produces a highly respectable 61 horsepower and 63 pound-feet of torque. It breezes through traditional dual Hitachi carburetors and features a bulletproof 5-speed transmission. You will find absolutely zero computer chips inside this engine block. It relies entirely on spark, fuel, and massive mechanical compression to dominate the highway. When discussing comfort, the Virago is an absolute masterpiece for riders of all sizes. The seat height sits at an incredibly low 28.1 inches. When you swing a leg over this cruiser, you plant both boots completely flat on the pavement, giving you massive confidence at a red light. The pullback handlebars keep your aging spine perfectly straight, while the plush, deeply scooped bucket seat acts like a living room recliner. It is incredibly easy to ride, making it the perfect choice for a veteran rider who wants to cruise without physical exhaustion. The genius of the Virago lies in its enclosed steel shaft drive. Modern riders waste hours scrubbing toxic grease off metal chains. The Virago owner simply changes the rear hub fluid once a year and rides indefinitely. The air-cooled V-twin is heavily de-stressed, meaning the internal pistons and bearings experience virtually zero thermal friction wear. You perform basic oil changes, and this engine easily surpasses 100,000 miles. Safety on this 25-year-old machine relies entirely on mechanical predictability. It lacks modern cornering ABS, but it features dual front disc brakes that provide incredibly linear, predictable stopping power. The massive gyroscope effect of the heavy cast wheels keeps the motorcycle perfectly planted during harsh highway crosswinds, keeping you safe and secure. Back in 1995, you would purchase a brand new model for roughly $7,000. Today, smart American men are securing pristine used models for a mere $2,000. Classic cruisers are amazing. But what if you want to completely terrorize modern sports cars with a massive inline-4 muscle bike from the late 90s? The next machine is a green monster. Quick pause. Are you wrenching on an old analog bike in your garage right now? Drop the make and model in the comments so we can admire your taste. And hey, hitting that subscribe button costs $0 and keeps our mechanical community thriving. Let us keep going. Number 9. The Kawasaki ZRX 1100. In the late 1990s, Kawasaki looked at the motorcycle industry and decided to build a tribute to their legendary endurance racers. They created the Kawasaki ZRX 1100. Looking like the Incredible Hulk on two wheels, this massive square headlight street fighter is the ultimate analog muscle bike. Smart men buy this because it delivers superbike acceleration without the agonizing ergonomic pain of a modern track weapon. The specs are absolutely terrifying. Kawasaki ripped the engine directly from their ZX-11 hyperbike. It features a 1052cc liquid-cooled inline-4 engine. It punches out 97 horsepower and 70 pound-feet of torque to the rear wheel. It utilizes 4 massive Keihin carburetors and a heavy-duty 5-speed transmission. When you aggressively twist the throttle, the massive inline-4 screams to the red line, leaving modern traffic completely in the dust. Comfort is where the ZRX truly humiliates modern sport bikes. The seat height is 31.1 inches. Instead of forcing you into a cramped, hunched-over fetal position, Kawasaki engineered a brilliant, upright standard riding posture. The wide tubular handlebars provide massive steering leverage, allowing you to flick this heavy machine through tight canyon corners effortlessly. The seat is a massive, thick bench covered in premium foam, making all-day Sunday rides an absolute joy rather than a torture session. And this motorcycle uses a massive, overbuilt engine block that was originally designed to produce 140 horsepower. Because Kawasaki detuned it to 97 horsepower for street duty, the internal connecting rods, forged pistons, and heavy-duty crankshaft experience absolutely zero mechanical stress. It operates well below its actual physical limits, meaning the engine simply refuses to blow up. The liquid cooling system is massive and robust, preventing the engine from overheating in gridlocked summer traffic. Safety comes from the sheer mechanical grip of the chassis. The ZRX features a massive, fully adjustable KYB suspension and extremely powerful 6-piston Tokiko front brake calipers. While it lacks digital traction control, the smooth, predictable roll-on power of the carburetors prevents unexpected rear-wheel spinouts, keeping the smart rider in total command. A brand new model in 1999 demanded $7,200. Today, you can find brilliant used models for $4,000. Muscle bikes rule the asphalt. But what if you want a machine built to survive the absolute collapse of civilization in the dirt? The upcoming legend is a towering beast. Number 8. The Honda XR6 150L. Smart American men know that when the paved roads crumble and the digital infrastructure fails, you need a machine forged from thick steel and pure aggression. The Honda XR6 150L was released in 1993, and it looks like a survival tool straight out of a Mad Max wasteland. It is a towering, street-legal dirt bike that ignores modern technology entirely. The specs define absolute rugged minimalism. It utilizes a massive 644cc air-cooled single-cylinder engine. This thumping tractor engine produces roughly 40 horsepower. It features a heavy-duty 5-speed transmission and breathes through a simple, constant-velocity carburetor. There are 0 digital screens, 0 ride modes, and absolutely 0 delicate sensors to shatter when you drop the motorcycle on a jagged rock. Comfort on the XR is entirely subjective and heavily favors tall riders. The seat height is a terrifying 37 inches. If you are short, this motorcycle will absolutely intimidate you. However, if you are an average or tall rider, it provides a perfectly straight, commanding, ergonomic triangle. The true comfort lies in the suspension. It utilizes massive, long-travel Showa front forks. When you hit a massive speed bump or a deep pothole at 50 miles per hour, the suspension simply swallows the violent impact. Your spine feels absolutely nothing. Honda engineered a brilliant dry sump lubrication system. The engine oil is actually stored directly inside the massive steel frame tubes. This cools the oil using the outside air flowing over the metal frame, completely preventing the massive single cylinder from overheating in the blistering desert sun. The air-cooled cylinder features a massive, thick metal fins that pull heat rapidly away from the combustion chamber. It is mathematically indestructible. Safety relies entirely on the massive suspension travel, keeping the knobby tires glued to the unpredictable earth. The braking utilizes standard front and rear disc brakes. They lack the aggressive, terrifying bite of a street bike, but they perform perfectly in the dirt and mud where aggressive braking causes violent crashes. In the late 1990s, a brand new model cost around $5,000. Today, you can grab an immortal used model for $3,000. Desert sleds are incredible. But what if you want the absolute undisputed king of classic American V-twin heritage? The next machine is a cultural icon. Number 7. The Harley-Davidson Sportster 1200 Evolution. If you want unfiltered Americana in your garage, you do not buy a massive modern bagger filled with touchscreen stereos. Smart American men buy the Harley-Davidson Sportster 1200 featuring the legendary Evolution engine. Built from 1986 until 2003, this is the Rocky Balboa of motorcycles. It just keeps punching, refusing to stay down, and it saved the entire Harley-Davidson company from bankruptcy. Let us look at the specs. This icon utilizes a 1,200cc air-cooled V-twin engine. It utilizes a simple, proven pushrod valve train. It produces roughly 60 horsepower and a massive 70 pound-feet of torque. It breathes through a classic Cayenne carburetor and features a clunky, mechanical, and totally bulletproof 5-speed transmission. It delivers a raw, rhythmic potato-potato exhaust note that modern emissions-choked engines simply cannot replicate. Comfort on a vintage Sportster is fantastic for urban cruising. The seat height sits remarkably low at 28 inches. The narrow frame allows you to command the heavy machine with massive confidence at stoplights. The mid-mount foot pegs keep your legs under your body, allowing you to lift your weight off the saddle when approaching a harsh pothole. Yes, the solid-mounted engine violently vibrates at highway speeds, but that raw mechanical vibration is exactly why men buy it. It feels alive. The Evolution engine completely fixed the terrible oil-leaking reputation of older Harley models. Harley-Davidson utilized computer-aided design to engineer aluminum cylinder heads and heavily improved gaskets. And the engine is entirely air-cooled, meaning there is no fragile radiator to puncture or water pump to fail. Furthermore, it utilizes a massive Kevlar reinforced belt drive. You never scrub a chain, and the belt lasts for tens of thousands of miles with zero maintenance. Safety comes from the massive, heavy-duty steel frame and the extremely low center of gravity. It feels incredibly planted to the asphalt. The basic single-disc brakes are not spectacular, but they force the rider to anticipate traffic and ride with intelligent caution. Back in the 1990s, a brand new model demanded around $9,000. Today, smart American men find absolutely pristine used models for $4,000. American V-twins are legendary. But what if you want a Japanese hooligan machine that wears a tuxedo but fights with brass knuckles? The upcoming legend is a street-brawling masterpiece. Number 6. The Suzuki Bandit 1200. In 1996, Suzuki realized that older, experienced riders still wanted massive superbike power, but absolutely hated the agonizing pain of leaning over a plastic gas tank. They unleashed the Suzuki Bandit 1200. It is like James Bond in a tailored suit, sophisticated on the outside, but absolutely lethal when provoked. It is the ultimate analog sleeper bike. The specs are the stuff of legend. Suzuki ripped the engine from their GSXR superbike and retuned it for massive mid-range punch. It features a 1,157cc air and oil-cooled inline-4 engine. It unleashes 98 horsepower and nearly 70 pound-feet of torque. It breathes through 4 Mikuni carburetors and uses a heavy-duty 5-speed transmission. When you twist the throttle, the front wheel aggressively claws for the sky. Comfort is brilliant. The seat height is 31.1 inches. Suzuki bolted on high, tubular handlebars that force the rider into a perfectly upright, commanding posture. You can ride the Bandit for 6 hours straight, carving through twisting mountain passes, and your lower back will never complain. The massive thick seat easily accommodates a passenger for weekend getaways, making it an incredibly versatile daily rider. The secret to the Bandit is the SACS cooling system. Suzuki Advanced Cooling System uses massive jets of high-pressure engine oil sprayed directly at the bottom of the pistons to draw heat away from the combustion chamber. It completely eliminates the need for a fragile liquid cooling radiator while allowing the engine to produce massive, reliable superbike horsepower. The bottom end of this engine is so incredibly overbuilt that drag racers routinely bolt on turbochargers without upgrading the internal connecting rods. It is a mechanical fortress. Safety is heavily reliant on the smooth, linear power delivery. The incredibly flat torque curve means the engine never violently surges or surprises the rider, providing ultimate control in tight corners. The massive dual front disc brakes easily haul the heavy machine to a safe, controlled stop. A brand new model in the late 90s cost roughly $7,000. Today, this massive street fighter is an absolute steal on the used market for $2,500. Street fighters dominate the urban grid. But what if you want to pack your bags and cross an entire continent on a legendary European adventure bike? The next machine started a global revolution. If you are absolutely loving this trip through mechanical history, hitting that subscribe button is the easiest way to join the crew. What is your absolute dream 90s motorcycle? Tell me below. Number 5. The BMW R1100 GS. Before the modern era of touchscreen, heavy adventure bikes, BMW built the Millennium Falcon of motorcycles. The BMW R1100 GS, released in 1994, completely invented the massive globe-crossing adventure category. Smart American men buy these vintage German machines because they offer world-class touring comfort without the terrifying, expensive, electronic failures of modern European bikes. The specs define precision engineering. It utilizes a massive 1,085cc air and oil-cooled boxer twin engine. It produces 80 horsepower and 71 pound-feet of torque. It features Bosch electronic fuel injection, a rarity for the era, and a robust 5-speed transmission. The boxer layout pushes the massive heavy cylinders outward horizontally, exposing them directly to the freezing wind for optimal cooling. Comfort is where BMW absolutely destroys the competition. The seat height is adjustable, hovering around 33.1 inches. The ergonomics are utterly flawless. You sit perfectly upright behind a massive aerodynamic windshield, gripping wide handlebars that provide immense leverage. The seating position completely neutralizes fatigue, allowing older riders to cross entire states without stopping. German logic. The R1100 GS utilizes a massive enclosed paralever shaft drive system. You absolutely never adjust or clean a drivechain in the middle of a muddy trail. The engine is entirely understressed, acting like a slow revving tractor that easily logs well over 100,000 miles. The heavy-duty cast aluminum engine block acts as a stressed member of the frame, reducing overall chassis weight and increasing torsional rigidity. Safety was revolutionary on this machine. It was one of the very first dual-sport motorcycles to feature switchable ABS. You could leave the anti-lock braking system on for the rainy highway and completely disable it for sliding the rear tire in the dirt. Furthermore, BMW invented the tele-lever front suspension. Instead of traditional forks that violently dive under heavy braking, the tele-lever system separates the steering forces from the suspension forces. When you slam on the brakes, the front end remains perfectly flat and stable. A brand new model back then demanded a premium $11,000. Today, you can secure this global touring legend on the used market for $3,500. Listen closely. We are entering the elite tier of analog motorcycles. The final 4 machines on this list are the absolute titans of the industry. We have a maintenance-free inline-4, a terrifying V, 4-muscle bike, the ultimate indestructible thumper, and the most comfortable flat-six touring couch ever engineered by human hands. Do not blink. Number 4. The Honda CB750 Nighthawk. During the 1990s, Honda recognized that American men were tired of paying massive dealership fees for routine engine maintenance. They wanted a motorcycle that provided smooth inline-4 horsepower but required the maintenance schedule of a simple lawnmower. They released the Honda CB750 Nighthawk. Like Captain America, it is purely dependable, completely honest, and absolutely indestructible. The specs are raw and incredibly effective. It features a 747cc air and oil-cooled inline-4 engine. It produces 75 horsepower and screams to a wonderfully high redline. It features a reliable 5-speed transmission, 4 classic Caheen carburetors, and a beautiful 4x2 exhaust system. The styling is perfectly neutral, featuring a classic flat bench seat and a simple round headlight. Comfort is absolutely brilliant for daily commuting or weekend escapes. The The seat height sits at exactly 31 inches. The flat, wide bench seat allows you to physically slide forward or backward to change your pressure points during a long, grueling highway ride. The standard, tubular handlebars place your aging wrists in a natural, relaxed position. It handles beautifully in the dense city grid, feeling incredibly balanced, narrow, and nimble at low speeds. The true engineering genius of the Nighthawk lies hidden inside the cylinder head, hydraulic valve lifters. On almost every single motorcycle on Earth, you must pay a mechanic massive labor fees to manually adjust the engine valve clearances every 15,000 miles. The Nighthawk uses internal engine oil pressure to automatically adjust the valves while you ride. You never manually adjust the valves. The massive maintenance schedule is entirely eliminated. You change the oil, replace the rubber tires, and the engine runs flawlessly for decades. Safety relies heavily on its totally predictable handling and linear power delivery. It features a single front disc brake and a traditional rear drum brake. The braking is adequate, but the true safety lies in the smooth, progressive torque of the inline-4 engine. It never jerks or surges aggressively, keeping the smart rider in absolute total control. A brand new model costs around $4,500. Today, you find incredible used models for $2,000. The Nighthawk is practical and friendly. But what if you want Darth Vader's personal drag bike, a terrifying, overpowered muscle cruiser that absolutely disrespects the laws of physics? Number 3. The Yamaha V-Max 1200. In 1985, Yamaha asked a dangerous question. How much massive horsepower can we physically force into a cruiser chassis before the government makes it illegal? The terrifying answer was the Yamaha V-Max 1200, produced virtually unchanged all the way through the 1990s. This is the undisputed godfather of the muscle bike segment. Smart men buy it for the absolute mechanical thrill of raw, unfiltered acceleration. The specs are the stuff of nightmares and legends. Yamaha dropped a 1,198cc liquid-cooled V4 engine into a drag strip-focused steel chassis. It unleashes 145 horsepower. But the legend comes from a purely mechanical system called V-Boost. At low RPMs, the engine runs normally. But when the analog tachometer hits 6,000 revolutions per minute, a mechanical servo motor opens butterfly valves in the intake manifold, linking the massive carburetors together. Suddenly, each cylinder receives a massive dump of fuel from 2 carburetors simultaneously. Comfort is surprisingly decent for a drag bike. The seat height is 30.1 inches. You sit aggressively upright, gripping wide handlebars. The step seat literally locks your pelvis into place, preventing you from physically sliding off the back of the motorcycle when the V-Boost kicks in and stretches your arms out of their sockets. Yamaha overbuilt the entire driveline to survive the terrifying torque. It utilizes a massive, heavy-duty, enclosed shaft drive. A standard chain would snap under the brutal acceleration, but the shaft drive transfers the power flawlessly and requires zero maintenance. The V4 engine is heavily water-cooled, keeping the massive internal temperatures perfectly stabilized. Safety on the vintage V-Max is a highly debatable topic. It possesses absolutely terrible brakes for its massive weight, and the flimsy steel frame flexes violently in high-speed corners. The safety of this motorcycle comes entirely from the rider's deep respect for the throttle. You survive the V-Max by treating it like a loaded weapon. A brand new model originally demanded $8,000. Today, smart American men buy used models for $4,000. The V-Max is a terrifying thrill ride. But what if you want the ultimate, indestructible Swiss Army knife of motorcycles? The next machine will survive the end of the world. Number 2, the Kawasaki KLR 650. When the world ends, the only vehicles left moving will be military tanks and the first-generation Kawasaki KLR 650, built completely unchanged from 1987 through 2007. This is not a luxurious motorcycle. It is a piece of heavy agricultural equipment designed to survive massive physical abuse and total neglect. It is the ultimate survivalist pack mule. The specs represent pure, unfiltered survival engineering. It utilizes a massive, thumping 652cc liquid-cooled single-cylinder engine. It produces a tractor-like 40 horsepower. It utilizes a simple, rugged 5-speed transmission and a massive Keihin carburetor. It features a massive 6-gallon fuel tank that provides incredible off-grid range. Comfort is incredibly utilitarian and basic. The seat height is a towering 34.3 inches, making it excellent for tall riders with long inseams. The seat itself feels like a flat wooden plank covered in vinyl. Hand vibration is definitely noticeable because of the massive single piston violently thumping up and down inside the engine block. However, the heavy weight of the motorcycle absorbs harsh highway crosswinds beautifully, and the massive front fairing blocks a surprising amount of freezing wind and rain. The KLR engine runs at incredibly low relaxed engine speeds. The massive single piston chugs up and down, producing massive low-end torque without generating destructive heat. The liquid cooling system is entirely overbuilt. The motorcycle is notoriously unrefined, meaning there are virtually zero complex electronics or delicate sensors to fail in the middle of a scorching desert. If a metal part breaks, you can literally weld it back together in a remote village. Safety relies on the massive, long-travel suspension and extreme rider visibility. When you hit a massive pothole that would shatter the rims of a sport bike, the KLR simply swallows the impact. You sit so high up that you can see completely over the roofs of modern SUVs, allowing you to anticipate traffic hazards long before they become dangerous. A brand new model originally cost roughly $5,000. Today, you easily find immortal used models for $2,000. The KLR is a slow tank, but we have reached the summit. The final machine on this list is a massive multi-cylinder touring couch that outlives its own riders. Number 1. The Honda Gold Wing GL1500. When smart American men decide to cross the entire North American continent with a passenger, they refuse to buy fragile European touring bikes. They buy the mechanical equivalent of the Starship Enterprise. Built from 1988 to 2000, the Honda Gold Wing GL1500 is the undisputed, unchallenged king of classic touring reliability. You will find thousands of these machines roaming the highways with over 500,000 miles on the original engine blocks. Let us look at the specs. Honda engineered an absolutely massive 1,520cc liquid-cooled horizontally opposed flat-six engine. It produces 100 horsepower and 110 pound-feet of torque. This unique flat-six layout places 3 massive cylinders on each side of the motorcycle. It breathes through dual carburetors and features a heavy-duty 5-speed transmission equipped with an actual reverse gear driven by the electric starter motor. Comfort is the absolute pinnacle of human engineering. The seat height is a remarkably low 29.1 inches, easily allowing you to balance the heavy machine. The seat is a massive, heavily sculpted throne that locks your lower back perfectly into place. The massive aerodynamic front fairing and adjustable windshield create a pocket of completely still, silent air around the rider. You can ride through a rainstorm and barely get wet. Because the flat-six engine possesses perfect primary and secondary balance, absolutely zero vibration reaches the handlebars. It is turbine smooth. The internal components of the flat-six engine are heavily de-stressed, operating at incredibly low, car-like RPMs on the highway. Because the engine never works hard, the internal bearings and piston rings refuse to wear out. The enclosed heavy-duty shaft drive requires zero maintenance. The liquid cooling system is massive, keeping the giant engine block perfectly chilled during low-speed parades or brutal desert crossings. Safety is heavily enhanced by its sheer physical presence. This is a massive, highly visible machine heavily covered in bright lighting. The linked braking system utilizes dual front disc brakes and a massive rear disc brake, intelligently distributing stopping power to haul the 900-pound yacht to a perfectly safe, controlled stop. Back in the late 90s, a brand new model commanded a massive $14,000. Today, Smart American men are buying these indestructible rolling living rooms on the used market for $4,000. And click on the next video to continue the ride. And if this deep dive saved you from buying a fragile plastic appliance, hit that subscribe button, click the like, and leave a comment below telling me which of these analog monsters you want to park in your driveway.